So moving on. So we'll look at these called controlling the controllables of what we're going to look at. So first one is about decision making. Particularly when we've had an incident, we're never going to change it. All we've got to do with now is actually deal with it. So of how we actually manage. So who's going to be the decision maker on site, which is the emergency response controller? He now has a lot of power under himself. You may need the police to come in. You may need the emergency services to come in. And it's at what stage then does this actually occur as to who those decision makers are and who takes over from whom at what particular stage. And it's also the reverse of that. So once the emergency people have actually dealt with their section of it, they move over and hand that back to you to be able to deal with the rest of the issues that you may have left on site. Has anybody heard of the terms latent failures in identifying risk? No? So there's a particular section on latent failures, and there's about 10 sections which this covers, which all lead up to this risk analysis process, which has a failure rating system coming through it. And again, we'll deal with that in a later series. What about the psychological effects of the incident and the injury? And let's just stick with the rail crane or the dump truck. Do you think the drivers of those two pieces of machines are gladly going to jump back into those tomorrow? Yeah, that's going to stick with you for quite some while, you know, of how you go. I don't actually think the driver of the dump truck actually drove one ever again. He actually packed in the rail game. He said it was too dangerous, yeah, as to what he did. When we start conducting the investigation, we've actually got to look at whether it's a substandard act. So we go back to the bubbles again on there. Does this become the norm? Are we actually kidding ourselves because we're writing procedures, we're writing swims, but they're not being adhered to? So are we aware of this becoming a substandard act, and we're just turning a blind eye to that ourselves as part of that all the time? Then we've got to face the fact that, particularly when we're working in the railways and then the rail industry, is that we've got this operational disturbance. So how long can we actually shut a line for? Can we actually open part of the line? Can we actually do something else that will allow rail traffic to actually run? Do we need everything to be closed down? What's the public and media announcements going to be around this? Who's going to be able to do and make those public announcements as part of that operational disturbance? There's a heck of a lot that actually now comes into this sphere, and we go back up to the top one. Who's the decision maker who's actually going to pull all of this together? So particularly on incidents like this, it just wouldn't be the guy on site. We'd be looking at instigating the crisis management team as part of that, and we'd have a set of people above who are actually making this level of decisions for those guys out in the field. So what all of this leads to then is we have the accident and we have the incident, and then we've got to deal with the consequences. And those consequences then, or where you come into play, is actually dealing with the information and how you actually get that together.